Welcome to the Box Score Sports Podcast.
To it, Clint. Let's talk about the Spurs taking Game 7. Western Conference Finals. They beat the Thunder 111 to 103 on the Thunder's home court. I got a couple thoughts I jot down. Give me maybe a thought or two that you've seen, whether it was in Game 7 or throughout the series, that you thought the Spurs did well and how they beat the Thunder.
I think the most important thing, important's the wrong word, I just went, the most impressive thing was that the Spurs went way up early on. I think they were up 12, 13 points. And the Thunder just kind of did what they always do, grinded it back. They even went up 4. And then that's where you're like, all right, here we go. The Thunder, the experience, they're going to do their thing. The Spurs closed the first half on a 7-0 run. And I know 3 points isn't, but it's the momentum factor. And the Spurs held off the Thunder every single time. The Thunder would get close. They took that lead. The one time I think they got close again or within 1 or 2, Spurs kept them at bay. And I think for that team against a more proven team, and the Thunder had a couple guys, like McCain, who don't have that experience like the rest of the team, but to withstand that on the road 2 or 3 times in a Game 7 and close it out, I think that's the most impressive thing the Spurs did.
Yeah, I agree. I think for a young team, it's crazy. But I even said, so I did I posted a podcast, I think yesterday, where we did the exit interviews, but I just put at the very beginning my quick thoughts on Game 7. And it's just we have this rule and we talk that there are exceptions to rules. Well, Wembanyama is an exceptional player, so he is going to be the exception to a lot of different rules. And I think that him being the anchor, especially on the defensive end of the court for this young Spurs team, we're going to just see them kind of break through some rules that we've had. And this is one rule. It's hey, you got to go into the playoffs and you're going to get into the second round, you're going to lose a sad series, or you're going to get to the Western Conference Final. The same thing the Thunder did. The Thunder went through that process, and then they finally won the title. Everybody, I thought the Spurs would have to deal with that. I think most people did, but I think it's impressive what they did, especially what, like you said, the momentum it seemed like was shifting to the Thunder in moments in that game. But it's just it's probably because you have the alien on your team, and that makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, I mean, more so defensively than offensively. Just, we don't have to go over everyone, but how many times guys dribble in there, minus Shea. And it happened to him a couple times, but Shea kind of figured out the cat and mouse game. But how many times guys would make their move, get in there, and just immediately throw it out or change what they thought they were going to do. And I think that effect it's hard to quantify because you don't see it in the stat sheet. And if you didn't watch the game, you'd be like, oh, I mean, he had a good game.
Yeah.
But when you see all the times he goes in there and guys don't want to challenge him, I think especially at the end of the game when they had, after that one turnover, they went in there 2 or 3 times and then kicked it right back out. And it took them, I think, 13 or 14 seconds before they got a shot off, just because they didn't want to take a low percentage floater over him.
Right. And then that's the thing. Every shot even if you want to challenge him, right? Every shot is a little bit higher. So there's more touch and more arc. And then so you got to kind of take that into consideration when he's in the area. So your shot isn't as natural as it normally would be in those situations. So yeah, him just being everywhere. I that was one of my takeaways, just the Victor effect. You could just tell that even sometimes it was Shea. Shea kind of got comfortable with that mid range and kind of, fading away from Wembanyama. But it's even Shea, early on in the series, he struggled in game here and there. I think it's because he was thinking like everybody else was. Where is Victor Wembanyama? How do I got to shoot this shot over him? So it's kind of crazy to see. But it's because this is the first time we've ever seen someone like that move the way he does and cover as much ground as he does as quickly as he does.
Yep. We've seen big guys, 7'5" guys in the NBA before, but you go back and watch all of them and they're just slow. They don't move side to side. They can't really run. Victor kind of beats all. I mean, he still looks funny running because anytime someone 7'5" runs, it looks funny. But we haven't had a guy his size be able to move or even jump. That most of those other guys couldn't really jump because you usually have bad knees at 7'5". So
Right.
that is just it's kind of crazy to watch. Like we'll probably get to it, but that like challenge at the end of the game where he wasn't going to block it, but he just ran and jumped in the air, and it looks ridiculous. Like it almost looks like one of those fake AI images of just a 7'5" guy jumping, arms out. But he's one of one.
Well, and that's the thing is like you're talking about the McCain shot, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe in a normal, if that was like Harkenstein or Duran or Allen running out to the 3-point line, he probably doesn't think twice about it. But it's this dude that might be able to alter that shot. So yeah, it was crazy. Another Spur that needs a shout out is Champagny, who was 6 of 10 from three, made some big threes to keep the distance between the Spurs and the Thunder, and Keldon Johnson. I think he hit like 2 big threes towards the end of that game that kind of like kept the momentum away from the Thunder totally coming back in the last couple minutes of the game.
Yeah, Champagny is like invaluable on that team because they're tight on shooting, and it all came together in that fourth quarter. They all hit threes, so the mean reversion kicked in. But I think he's 6 of 10. Like he's rock solid, and whenever they needed a big shot, I mean his ball looks good too. When he lets it go, it looks like it's going in every time.
Yeah, correct. Any other takeaways from the Spurs side of it?
I think it's just their team. Like, they're not that deep of a team compared to the Thunder. Like we saw the Thunder go through 6, 7, 8 guys, and they're contributing. And like Harrison Barnes, you get a few minutes out of him. Cornette really couldn't play that much in the series until he just comes up with that epic block.
Yeah.
So for the Spurs, like these guys are getting tired. Fox, coming off the ankle. Harper had the abductor. They definitely look better at the end. So they're kind of thin, as of contributors that you were like, okay, he's on the court, we're fine. But again, that fourth quarter, when the shots start falling like that, like the Harper step back, like shot it about as flat as you'll ever see a 3-pointer go in. I think that sometimes that's just like your sign. Like I was getting nervous and he did that. Like he stepped back and let it go. And I'm like, no way. And that thing hit the back of the iron and in, and I'm like, all right, well, that might be the sign that they're bringing this home.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just so on the Thunder side, what do you think who regrets what more? Harkenstein trying to run the floor to dunk it on Cornette and getting blocked, or do you think like the team as a whole in the last 6 minutes of the fourth quarter did not try to get Wembanyama 1 foul when he had 5 fouls? Like what do they regret more? You know what I'm saying? Like what would you be like, this is the dumbest?
Not trying to get a 6 foul on Victor. Like, I mean, even if you try one of the dumb flop things just to see if the refs are going to give it to you, it probably wouldn't have worked because I think, especially in a game 7, if you've watched the NBA, not even just this era, guys with 5 fouls, like star players, he's really got to foul you to get that 6th foul. But I think even if you just get a head fake or you go at him, you may be able to score because he doesn't want to foul you.
Right.
And if you like throw a pump fake and he moves, he's probably going to put his hands down and not even try to because he doesn't want to get out of the game. I think that is probably their biggest regret. The Cornette block, like he kind of came, I don't want to say he came out of nowhere, but he kind of came out of nowhere because he was kind of behind, and Hartenstein probably thought this is Luke Cornette. But
yeah, I should be able to handle this.
It looked bad at the time because he got all of it.
Yeah, well, the only reason why I put that sort of in the same category, because I sort of agree with you, like the fact that, like Shea didn't just like 4 possessions in a row go after Victor and just try to get him to foul him one time. I just don't I don't quite understand why you wouldn't have attacked him. But the Cornette block, I believe it was 97 to 93. So if he dunks it, it's 95, or if he passes it to Wallace and Wallace just lays it in, it's 95-97. But after the block, they ran the court, and I think Castle hit a shot to put it up 99-93. So it was like a 4-point swing in like a very crucial moment. So I just like wonder how much like Cornette's going to be like, man, I mean, not Cornette, Harkenstein's going to be like, man, I really should have just passed that ball, because I get it. Like he should have probably dunked it, and like he probably was fairly confident, but I got to imagine, like, if I was him, I've been like, I should have just gave it to my guard and tried to run the court faster than Cornette, because that's probably what slowed him down, was he was dribbling the ball.
Yeah. I think that's one where hindsight is 50-50, but I think like, well, I mean, he double dribbled on the play when he first got it, but, but I think like watching it from like his view, I think Case and Wallace being there kind of blocked out Cornette like on the angle, because I don't think he turned his head all the way to see, and he just saw, I think it was Case and Wallace, and was like, oh, there's no one here, and then Cornette came right out of like that blind spot. But that was a huge swing, because you're right, that's a 2-point game. The crowd's going crazy if he hammers that in. He probably gets an and one, right? If he hammers that in and Cornette doesn't block it. And you're like a totally different game,
right?
Just the crowd, the momentum, and everything. But to get that blocked, and then I think Castle, you're right, hit like an 18-foot mid-ranger, and then you're like, all right, well, it's still 2 possessions, but took some air out.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, SGA, great game. Kind of the only one that really. I mean, Wallace showed up too, but you know what I'm saying? Like one of the guys we expect to show up game to game, he showed up. He played a really good game.
That is minus, I think he did it twice. That is the shade that you like to see, that like if you're 100%. A fan of basketball, you fall in love with. He did the two. One, the head fake, and the guy really jumped into him, wasn't too bad. The other, where he leaned sideways on the three, where you're like, right,
yeah, that was rough.
Yeah, we could probably do without that. But the other stuff that he was doing, you're like, that's the stuff where you like get nostalgia for like basketball, and you're like, he was close to unstoppable for large sections of this game. Probably the best player in the game, because the Thunder are just dead without him. And he was hitting tough shot after tough shot. So anything, there's nothing you can say. I mean, he left it all out there. And I think they were right when you're watching the game. His last three was like short and almost airballed. And what did he play, 42 or 44 minutes? Like, that's a tough game. And he had to do it all.
Yeah.
He didn't get minutes off to go stand in the corner.
Yeah, 35, 9, and 4 stocks. I thought defensively he played really good as well. He was. I put masterclass. He just did such a good job. And yeah, he has. But like if he wasn't known for like constantly doing it, I don't think it would bother us as much as in this game if he would have pulled those moves off twice and be like, yeah, it was a little weird. But because of who it is, it's kind of annoying seeing that, from him. But he's a great player. Let's see here. Other notes I have. Okay, we'll finish this game up. Chet's the other note I have. He technically had 4 shots, I believe, because he had 4 free throws, but he only had 2 actual shot attempts without the free throws. 4 rebounds. Just sort of, I don't know. It's going to stick with him through the summer. That's a rough game. I mean, rough series for him in general, but rough game 7.
Yeah, I mean, if you listen to other sports podcasts, there's been a lot on it, and I agree with a lot. Like, I would rather Chet go down just bombing threes and missing than just 2 or 3 times like wide open, and you don't even barely look at the hoop. And that's when, and the Thunder were kind of behind the 8 ball with the injuries they had, but that's where you're like, this guy can't be out here.
Yeah.
Because he's out here to space. And if he's not going to shoot it, and you're not going to go to the rim and dunk it like Giannis. And he had that awesome block on Dylan Harper. So I mean, defensively, he still plays a role. Like, he's still important to that, but the Thunder's biggest problem breaking the Spurs defense was shooting them out of some of their looks. And if the guy that you pay a max player to be like a stretch 5 isn't going to shoot, can't make anything happen off the dribble, falls, can't catch the ball, like, he's just out of it. And you're right. It's going to stick with them. This is either going to be one of those where Chet comes back next year and it like grows from it, or Chet's just going to be like the player he is, which is still a good player, but you're going to be like, can we trust this guy in? I know it's Victor,
Right.
it's kind of like matchup specific, but I think these are things where if it gets in a guy's head, it can be like a long-term thing where the guy just thinks about his shot too much.
Yeah, I think right. So I do want to just, I guess, PSA, public service announcement. This is a Victor problem for Chet. I think, like, I went back and I kind of just looked at his playoffs, and he was fine. Like, he was good throughout the playoffs. Now, granted, it was against the Suns and the Lakers, but it's still like it's not like it wasn't like he pulled a Jalen Duren, and didn't show up and, whatever. But this is a Victor problem, and Victor is in his head. People keep throwing the MJ versus Drexler comparison. It's probably a suitable one, but he's got to get out of that. And I think part of it has to be like the Thunder have to also help him with this, and by that I mean like try to expand his game a little bit. He can dribble. I just think he hasn't had to develop because he plays in an offense with Shea and Williams and like guys that are these guys that are very competent. So he has this role that he does probably maybe to a level that's above other people that would be in that role. But then when you get a moment where you're like, dude, you are the guy that people say you're going to be the guy to challenge this dude, and you are a no-show. I think the Thunder also got to be like, hey, let's develop this guy's game and get him worked in more an offensive scheme so that we can, like, when this matchup comes, he has the confidence. Because I think the most scary part, if you're like a Thunder fan and you're like rooting for Chet and for Chet's sake, is just like the yips at the 3-point line is just that's the thing that would make me most nervous. Like, he had a couple threes he just did not take, and it's just like, that's crazy. Like, I don't know. I guess that's my thought on it.
Yeah, and like, he's got to shoot those. I know he's got a slow shot, so they got to speed that up a little bit, but like, his skill set should be perfect for this matchup. Like, all right, we're going to shoot them out of kind of what they're playing. And if you're not going to take them, you're not going to look at it. I don't really hold it against him being able to like break down Dylan Harper or Stephon Castle, like with your dribble. Again, Wemby doesn't do that either because you're so tall. Like, the dribble, a low dribble is still high when you got like a 6'5" guy covering you. But just getting the shot up, getting to your spots, being confident. And, like, they didn't even put Chet on Wemby for a large, like, they had to bring it Hartenstein to do that. And that's where you're like, we need you. You don't have to be the main coverage on him, because I get playing Chet at the 4 and you want to space out with Hartenstein out there. So nothing against, that matchup specifically. But I think when we get to the finals, we're going to see Towns on Wemby a lot for the way that the Knicks are going to do things. And that's where you're going to see, like, Chet's got to speed up that shot. He's just got to let it go. It doesn't even matter if you're, not making them. Like, the Brook Lopez Bucks, there was plenty of games you went to where Brook Lopez is like 2 for 12 and he just shooting them.
Right.
Part of you is like, why are you doing that? But you're like, you got to get him up because the team's got to play for him. He's a good shooter.
Right.
I mean, he hasn't shown it in the playoffs as much, but it's hard to watch. And that's one where you're like, I mean, it's amazing that the Thunder were that close with as bad as Chet was playing.
Yeah. Agreed. The couple other things I wrote down, just kind of like series momentum things. So game 1 and 2, the turnover battle was won by the Thunder. The rest of the series, it was won by the Spurs. So that was something I think me and you talked about when I think we talked about after game 3 is just a lot of turnovers by the Spurs, and they had to kind of calm it down. They did. And so the Spurs won the turnover battle. I do think it has a little to do with Williams and Mitchell being out. So those are the other 2 ball handlers for the Thunder. And I think that also kind of swing the series a little bit where part of me is like, if they were healthy, maybe the Thunder actually like win these games because you're less reliant on McCain. You're not bringing in Wallace and trying Isaiah Joe out or whatever. So that I also had the last two games, both Spurs win, had five more threes than the Thunder did. So they shot at a better percentage, but they also made more threes than the Thunder, and that ended up kind of being kind of couple series swinging moments when you think about statistics.
Yeah, and the Spurs are an excellent fast break team,
Yeah.
and they got held down in a couple of those games because Castle was turning it over, and then the Thunder get the shot advantage. But when it flipped the other way, or when it's close to even, the Thunder don't get those freebies, and the Spurs are the ones that kind of capitalize off that.
Yeah, agreed. And it's kind of funny too, like the whoever won the 3-point matchup won the game except game one where the Spurs beat the Thunder, which, kind of interesting. Okay. Anything else on this series?
I don't think so. I mean, I think
Yeah.
it was one of those series where game one and game seven kind of saved it. Yeah. Some
Yeah.
of the middle games, it was kind of, I don't want to say disappointing because there were, none of them were like wire to wire blowouts.
Right.
But those two games were like pinnacle of what you want to see for modern basketball, where
Hmm.
there were three shots, but there wasn't too many.
Hmm.
It was physical. They went at it. The reffing was pretty good for the most part, and you're like, cool. I mean, that's what we lock in for in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. I think, yeah, good. It was a good back and forth, like especially game one and seven, like the rest of it, but that it's kind of like cool when you see like the chess moves. And then game four, like I kind of give the Thunder a pass. I know they got blown up, but that's when they lost Mitchell and Williams. Like that's when they didn't play. So it's like you got to adjust your whole strategy in the middle of playoff series, losing both your ball handlers other than Shea. That's a little challenging. So. Okay, the one thing everybody else is now talking about, which we will talk about more tomorrow, but I just kind of wanted to hit this point real quick, is what do the Thunders do next? Now, we will do an exit interview moving forward. So, real quick, snapshot. Are you just going in, you know, uh, what's it called? Just smoothing out the edges, so to speak? Hopefully, we're healthy. Or are we doing an all-in move?
Now, I think you just smooth around the edges. I mean, we'll
Yeah.
get into it tomorrow. They got a lot with like the second apron, but there's two or three guys that they can
Couple of
let
team
go of.
options, and I think they'll
Yeah,
re-sign Harkenstein for less money but longer
yeah,
years and
yeah.
stuff
So
like that.
they can get out of the second apron, and they'll probably trade, a couple picks in this draft or whatever. But I don't think the Thunder after this series change it. Like this next year and then the year after is really going to be hard for them cap wise.
Yeah.
But if this happened, if they were healthy and this happened, then I think maybe you like spend a little more time on it. But I think that you still went to 7 with Jalen Williams playing what, like 2 games in the series.
Right. And one of them, he was
Yeah,
clearly not
yeah.
healthy, right?
And you lost Mitchell, which is your other ball handler, for the last 4 games of the series, 3 games of the series. So I think from that aspect, you go, all right, Chet can't play any worse. J-Dub, if he plays, we probably win the series. Maybe if just AJ Mitchell plays, maybe you win the series.
Right.
I think you just smooth it out. I think they're still going to stay on the, get rid of Kendrick Williams, some of these like Isaiah Joe, bring in their draft picks or, around the edges. I just don't think they're going to alter course after one time losing to the Spurs, because next year, if these are the 1 and 2 seeds, you could get to the Western Conference Finals next year and Victor rolls his ankle. Like,
Right.
right. And then you're on the other side and you're like, cool, we're back to the finals.
Or Chet learns his lesson and he averaged 15 points a game. You know what I'm saying? Like he's shooting the threes and really, if you think about it, what did he have? 4 points or
Yeah.
2, or whatever. Like if he would have got to his normal like 18, 20 points a game, they win the game, right? Like so it's like even if this that happens, but yeah, you're right. But it was interesting because I was listening to the Bill Simmons podcast and he was talking about like an all-in move. And they were talking about Giannis, and they said like, is it the time to do like a a 140 cents to the dollar. And he's like, well, I wouldn't do it. And then I'm like, okay, but you said it's an all-in move. Who's the player that's your all-in move? And he said Trey Murphy. And I'm just like, what? That's not like an all-in move. Your part of your problem is Victor Wembanyama. Like that's a huge problem on your team. The only all-in move that makes a lot of sense for any team that's going to be playing the Spurs is Giannis. It's like because who else is going to solve your the Victor problem? Giannis is like he can do that, you know. So I think that is what I would say is like I don't know what that I mean we'll talk again more about it tomorrow, but that all-in move it's not going to be what's his name? It's not going to be Trey Murphy. It'd have to be someone like Giannis.
Yeah, that's why I don't think, and I think if Giannis was 2 years younger, I think they would consider it. But I think, and Giannis isn't like old, but compared to the rest of their core, like you're pushing fast forward, and I don't know if you need to do that yet. I would just give it another year, and then maybe someone else, maybe Anthony Edwards is your all-in move or something where you get another guard or something. But I don't think the Thunder are the type of team that would go that route after one playoff loss.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, we'll talk more about it tomorrow, but I just want to get your quick thoughts. Okay, let's move on then. Thanks so much for watching this clip of the Box Score Sports Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter or X. And we'll talk to you guys real soon. See ya.